Hello and welcome to Home with Sarah Jane. In today's video, I am sharing some of our most recent homeschool favorites. If you're new here, hello and welcome. My name is Sarah and I'm a homeschooling mom to two girls, ages 11 and 15. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for stopping by once again. I do really appreciate you. So, we are still in a no spend pantry challenge for the month of February. So a lot of these items that I'm going to be sharing with you today are things that I actually already had and I either forgot about or I just never even used to begin with. So this video is not just about homeschooling favorites, certain items that I'm really enjoying in our homeschool, but it's also about just a quick reminder to shop your shelves, shop what you currently have, take a look at everything and just see what can be useful, because sometimes something doesn't work out the first time you try, but it might work out the second time that you try. And that's kind of what happened with some of these. So all of these are things that I already had that I just forgot about, or, I purchased and then never used. So during the month of January, when I did my 30-day cleaning challenge, and then when we did now that we're doing our no spend month in February, I really wanted to find items that would kind of refresh our homeschool during second semester. And we found a couple of gems just sitting in storage or in our homeschool library. So I wanted to share some of those with you today. Now, there's not a lot here. Okay, there's not a lot, but still some of these have really worked wonders in our homeschool over the last few weeks. So I just wanted to share them. But we're going to start off with what we're enjoying when it comes to reading. Now, the first few are just books that I'm using with my youngest daughter, Lydia. These are books that I've read to her just between the two of us. We do still have a family read aloud time where we're all reading books together, but this is just for Lydia, and she has really been loving books by Roald Dahl. Now, I did not forget about Roald Dahl. He happens to be my oldest daughter's, one of her favorite authors, so I didn't forget. It's just, for some reason, I hadn't read a lot of Roald Dahl to my youngest daughter, and so we started off reading Fantastic Mr. Fox, and she really, really loved it. So now we're in the middle of James and the Giant Peach. She wants to reread through Matilda, because I read Matilda a couple of years ago, and I feel like she got some of the story, but she was much younger, So we are just kind of going through all of these different Roald Dahl books right now, and she's really having a blast with them. She thinks they're super silly and fun, and a lot of them do have movies. So it's kind of like we're getting this book in a movie feeling, which we really enjoy in our homeschool. So Roald Dahl, he's definitely on our favorites list right now. Now, this next book, my youngest daughter, Lydia, is really, really loving. It's a series. I think there's 12 books in the series, but it is How to Train Your Dragon. So I read How to Train Your Dragon, book one, as a read aloud to her, and she loved it. She thought it was so fun. Again, she loves reptiles, dragons, all of that. So this is really something I kind of felt she was going to enjoy going into this book, but she just loved it so much that before I can even get a copy of the second book to read to her, she ended up downloading the audio book version on the Libby app through the local library, and she's already on book 4 or 5. She's been listening to them through the Libby app. She couldn't wait. She loved it so much. She went and borrowed them all from the library, and she's really, really loving these. So How to Train Your Dragon is definitely one of her favorites right now. And again, I think there's 12 books in this series, and there's a few movies out there. Again, the book and the movie thing we really, really love. Now, this next book I'm actually using with both of my girls, and we've really enjoyed this in our morning time. This is Word of the Day. I have been trying to focus a little bit more on vocabulary with both of my girls, and this was a really fun way to do it. They have a lot of words that we don't typically use a lot, so it's nice to, have them mentioned and learn about them. But it's just, I dropped our bookmark, dang it. I guess it's a good thing it's a word of a day, because I could just go to the date, but it just has the date, and then it has a word. It gives you, how to say it, definition, things like that. It's been a really fun book to add into morning time, and it doesn't take a long time. I mean, this is 2 minutes tops, depending on the conversation we have after, but my kids have really been loving it. And then every so often there is, every month, not every so often, but every month there is a story of the month where they use the words that they learned about throughout the month in a story. So this has just been a lot of fun. We just thought we'd give it a try because it's been on my shelf for a while now, and I never used it. So we're really enjoying it. I'm glad I found this one again. Okay, Now with my oldest daughter, there's a couple of books that I wanted to share, but these are more like guides or helpful little tools that you can use. This is the Complete High School Study Guide, Everything You Need to Ace Biology in One Big Fat Notebook. So this has been really, really helpful for any areas throughout biology that she needs a little bit more instruction or just being taught something in a slightly different way than her curriculum. Now, she is still really loving Friendly Biology, the biology curriculum that we chose for her. She's still loving it, still going strong in that, but every so often she likes to either learn a little bit more or just get a little bit more clarity about what they were talking about in that. And we will pull this out every now and again. And what I like about this is that it does break down a whole bunch of different topics throughout the chapters. And then they also have like, let me see if I could find one. So where? Right here. So they have like these little questions that can go with it as well, to where she has to answer the questions to make sure that she's understanding it. And then they have the answers for you. So it's not just a book that she's like reading. It also has, you know, those questions in there to help out and stuff, but it is a very colorful book. It has a lot of great information in here. And again, it's just kind of reiterating what the curriculum may say, but in a slightly different way, for her to get a little bit more, out of it. And then the other one that we've been using a lot lately is the Complete High School Study Guide, Everything You Need to Ace Pre-Algebra and Algebra 1 in One Big Fat Notebook. So algebra, it has been a bit of a struggle for Bella. She is very much my language arts kid. She loves to read. She loves to write. Algebra has been a little bit more challenging. So this has really been helpful. This is a really thick book. And again, it does have pre-algebra and algebra 1 concepts in here. And it has been a huge help. They do also have, I think, middle school versions of this series, and there's more than just the 2 books that I'm sharing with you today. I will try and link what I can in the description box. But again, it's the same concept, not the same concept, it's the same idea, so it introduces these concepts to your child, and then they have questions and things like that for them to, just make sure that they are retaining the information taught. And again, we're not using this as a full curriculum. We're using it kind of like a little study guide. We use it whenever we feel that we need a little bit more instruction than what the curriculum gives. So this has been extremely helpful to us. And again, we do have some middle school books and a few more of the high school ones, because they have like I think for high school it's called English, not language arts, but they have like English, they have history, world history, American history. There's a lot of different versions of these books. So if you're interested, definitely check them out, because they have been a huge help in our homeschool, especially in the topics that I'm not great at, and algebra is one of those. So the next thing that I've been using in our homeschool that I've been enjoying is called Banish Boring Words. Now this has 40+ word list, where there's like different synonym choices for the most commonly overused words like good and said. So it just gives you other ideas for words that you can use in place of some of these common words that we're using all of the time. So I really, really like this one. I think it helps my youngest daughter a lot. I did use this a couple of years ago with my oldest daughter, Bella, and she had this, she would use this when she would like write essays and paragraphs and papers and things like that. She would keep this kind of in her room so that it was always on hand, but she just recently kind of turned it back in, saying that, she doesn't feel she needs it anymore. So now I'm focusing on using this with Lydia, because writing has been challenging with my youngest daughter. She is more my math kid. So pulling this out and just giving her some other ideas for some commonly used words has been really, really helpful when it comes to her writing. So we have been enjoying this one. And again, it's just a whole bunch of basically like word lists. It's not like a workbook or anything like that. It's just a whole bunch of lists of different options for certain words. So it's been helpful. Now, let's look at something that I'm actually enjoying. My kids really enjoyed these as well during the Christmas season. I bought them the Christmas version of this, but I have really been liking doing watercolor again. We kind of fell off of doing our watercolor during the holiday season for like the months of like October and November. And I really wanted to pick it back up because it was pretty much the only art instruction that I was really doing in our homeschool this year. We had cut back a lot when it came to art history and things like that. So I reincorporated some of these Emily Lex watercolor books into our homeschool, and my kids have been really enjoying it. This is the baking one, so all the pictures are going to relate to baking. Let me find one my kids haven't used. So on this one, like, it has an apron and it tells you, you know, the colors and everything to use, and it gives you step-by-step instructions. And then on this side, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but there is a template of the apron that you could just color. We were finding that when my kids have to draw the item and then do the watercolor, they were getting kind of frustrated because it never came out the way that they wanted it to. But because this one has a template, it has been much more enjoyable for my kids to go off of the template and then just focus on doing the watercolor technique. So this one has been working out really well. And what I like is that they do leave a blank page that doesn't have the template in case you want that as an option, to where you can draw it yourself and do the watercolor if you want, but if you don't want to, just use the template. So we have really been enjoying these Emily Lex watercolor books. Again, this one is on baking, so all of the items are going to have to do with baking. A lot of cute pictures in here. And they do have like different versions. So like I was saying, my kids did have the Christmas one. They have stuff for spring. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different options. I will link the website down below. I'm not affiliated with Emily Lex or anything like that. We just really enjoy these watercolor books. Okay, so next up is something called Write Abouts. Now, these have been so helpful when it came to getting my youngest daughter to start writing. So my 6th grader, Lydia, she does not enjoy writing, and a lot of the pushback is, I don't know what to write about, I don't know what to say, I don't know this, I don't know what I want to talk about. That's a lot of the pushback that I get from her. So when I found these again, in our homeschool supplies that were kind of tucked away in the back of our library, I thought I'd pull them out and give them a try. And guess what, you guys? This time around, she loves them. The first time I tried to introduce these into our homeschool, she was just like, no, I don't want to do it. She gave me a lot of pushback, and we kind of set them aside. But now that I reintroduce these, like, what, a couple years later, now she's all into it. Every morning, she just takes out a notebook and she will write a silly story, whether it's 1 or 2 sentences or full paragraphs. That's all up to her. I don't really put like, okay, you know, this has to be 5 sentences. I don't do any of that. There's no pressure in trying to get these silly stories written. It's whatever kind of flows from her pencil to her paper. So this one is the Silly Starters, and this is for grades 1 through 3. Now, yes, my daughter is in 6th grade, but we kind of wanted the silly starters as well, because I do also have the writing starters, which is for grades 4 through 8. But how these work is they're on this little spiral thingy, I guess we can say this. It has spiral binding, and then there's like 3 different sections in here, and all they do is they would just flip these little pages, and it gives them what they should be writing about. You know, it gives them that idea of a story. So this one is write a scary story about a bug that tastes like chocolate. So again, just something silly, something to just get them, you know, getting creative, starting to write. This has been helping Lydia a ton, because again, a lot of her pushback is, I don't know what to write about, or, you know, I don't want to write about what they're asking me to write about. I want to write about something fun. This is kind of what we've been using. This one, describe your day full of problems with a monster that likes to sing. So again, it's just a whole bunch of different variations of silly stories that your student doesn't really have to come up with. So we have really been enjoying this. Every now and again, she will use the writing starters as well. The one for a little bit older kids. It's just, you know, the same concept. So this one is write a silly story about a gas pump that is afraid of everything. So again, these are still pretty silly too. They've been a lot of fun, and it kind of took a lot of that pressure off of my youngest daughter when it came to trying to figure out what to write about. So we have been using these for the last couple of weeks, and she's been really enjoying them, and I'm just going to kind of turn it into part of our morning time. You know, is, oh, did you do your silly story today? You know, grab your notebook, start with that. So, okay, so this next one, I'm not quite sure what it's called. On the box, it just says 100 picks, can you guess them all? But it's like a little flashcard game type of thing. So this one is on states and capitals. I actually have 3 versions of this that I'll share with you today. But it's just like another way to use flashcards. And my daughter finds it a little bit more fun than just looking at a card and moving on. So this is something where it has little doors that she can open. It has this little slider piece that to help you unscramble the word down here. But so here it is here. So here it gives you the scrambled up state, and then you can slide it and it gives you the actual spelling for the state. But then it has these little doors that you can open as well, that it will show the state where it is on the map. It gives you the state outline with the abbreviation, and then also gives you the state capital. So that's what all of these cards look like on one side. But if you open this up, because, you know, after each one you could just, you know, put it in the back, the other side of the card also has a whole bunch of information about that state as well. So it has the state capital, the bird, the flag, and again, this is Sacramento. So they can use this either way. They could either use the state to figure out the capital or the capital to figure out the state, but it does give a lot of great information. And my youngest daughter has really been enjoying this. She has been having a hard time just kind of studying off of regular flashcards, so I was trying to find something that was going to be a little bit more fun, and I found these again when I was digging through all of my stuff during my cleaning challenge. So I pulled this out, and you guys, she has been retaining the information a lot more than just regular flashcards. So this is something that she actually enjoys doing now because she likes the little doors, and you know, it's just something that's a little bit more hands-on. So she's really been enjoying this. I do also have the countries of the world version of this that I haven't even opened yet. We haven't used it yet, but I just kind of wanted to show you because, again, my daughter's been enjoying them so much. I can't even open it right now. Here we go. So it looks the same, only the set of cards are different. Well, this one's green. I mean, if you care about color. This one is green. But again, it has those same doors, and on there it gives you the country, and then it has it kind of like mixed up like in a word scramble, and then it has the actual country. And this one does have a backside to the card as well, but it is more countries. So there's that one. But these have been a lot of fun for her. I feel like I'm not explaining it that great, but I hope you kind of get the idea of what these little flashcard games are. We do also have the flag version as well. This has been something that, again, we haven't really tried the flags yet. We've primarily been doing the states and capitals, but it still has the little doors, as you can see, and it gives you the flag, and then it has a scrambled version of the country, and then you just push that little door aside and you get the actual country spelled properly. So again, these have been a lot of fun. So she's really been loving these. These have been a huge hit with my 6th grader, and again, I just think that it makes it more fun because it's something a little bit more hands-on. You know, she gets to open the door, she gets to kind of guess, she gets to do a word scramble, and again, we have been car schooling a lot lately, so this has been really easy to just throw in my purse or just have her grab and we can go. Something small, something convenient. So these have been a huge hit in our homeschool. Now, the last thing I want to share with you is something that I've shared before, but we kind of reincorporated it into our homeschool and we have been loving it again, and that is this little colored wheel. Now, I use this for so many different things. We kind of stopped using it around the holiday season. Or right around the holiday season. We kind of stopped using it so much when we got really busy, but then I brought this back out and we use this for a whole bunch of different homeschooling things. You know, sometimes I'll just write dates on here and my kids have to guess, you know, which war happened in this year, or sometimes I use it for physical education to where I'll write a whole bunch of different numbers and different, you know, activities they can do, like, you know, 10 sit-ups or 50 crunches or, you know, things like that, and they spin it and they could do it that way. Sometimes I'll just use this to pick out our next read aloud. I'll write all the titles on here, we'll spin it, and whatever it lands on, that's the book we read. So there are so many different ways I use this wheel in our homeschool, and I just forgot how fun the wheel is. So I wanted to mention it again, just in case you didn't watch my last homeschool favorites video, because a lot of those items that I mentioned in that homeschool favorite video is still our favorite. Like, we're still really loving World Watch News. We are still really loving my daughter's language arts curriculum and biology curriculum. We're still loving Add the Wonder Nature curriculum, but I wanted to kind of mention a few items that were new in this video, but I just think that this one deserves another kind of little shout out because we've been loving it a lot. I just kind of wanted to show you that there are, you know, you have a thicker side and a thinner side if you need more space. I wanted to show you that really quickly, but that is it. That is what I wanted to share with you today. That is what we are loving in our homeschool just over the last few months. And again, these are all items that I already had on hand. Another thing that we've really been loving is the Libby app. That is something that I've mentioned before, but we're using it a ton, especially during our no spend. So that is it for today. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section. As always, thank you so much for stopping by. You have a great day. Bye.